Um, um, Tass, we're live. How are you, my friend?
I'm well. How are you after all this vacation time of yours?
It's not over.
It's not over.
Do you hear this?
Yeah. Was that like people jumping on or what?
I think it's people jumping off.
Da-ding, da-ding.
So Tass, sir, Mr. Kevin, I have a message here from you. I didn't even get a time. I didn't even open it. I just saw that I got a message from you, so I will be reading that and getting back to you ASAP. Tass, talk to the peeps for 1 second. I just want to make sure of something with Mr. Parrott.
You got it. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, Miss Dawn. Good to see everybody. How's the summer going, team? Everybody doing good? Everybody riding the wave of success. It has been a busy summer, which has been fantastic. And we're coming out of summer here. I say we're coming out of summer. A lot of us don't think that that's the case, but we're coming out of summer, and in some cases, schools are starting in August, and others, you guys start in September. But it will be here before you know it. And there's also a little tip in there, right? When you're talking to people and you say, "Hey, look, we're gonna pull the trigger on this at back to school time or this fall." Well, that in some cases, back to school is in like 25 days. That's coming up faster than we think. So. Hope you guys are doing great, having an amazing summer. And if not, let's get ready for an amazing back-to-school season.
Yeah, and you know what, Tass? You don't even know. So I was told.
I don't even know.
The topic, I was told 3 minutes before we went on, tips to ensure success, right? We always give tips to ensure success. But because I've been on vacation, I'm in the office today, I'm back out tomorrow, we didn't have time to get through. However, I want to give somebody some great info here that'll help all of us. So stay tuned. We want to make sure that you guys get some of this info because it's a topic that comes up all the time. And that topic is, I want to expand, or I want to open a school, or I want to open a second school, and where you open your school. And it's about location, right? And how important it is. But I want to make sure everybody understands what you need to look at when you're looking at a location. Go ahead, Tass.
And Metz, I think, listen, we had conversations for 2 years about opening multiple locations. And by the way, when you say expand, right, there's opening multiple locations, a second, a third, a fifth, a 10th, whatever. There's also expanding your existing space. And in either case, I would tell you, right now specifically, just be careful. And, we would obviously want to chat with you first. There's a right time and a wrong time. And sometimes we think it's the right time, but do we have everything in place that we need? And if business has been easy the last 4 or 5 months, we've been on a wave. We've been riding the wave, and it may not always be that easy. And there's some things that you want to know before you do expand or before you do go into multiples, just to make sure that you're sitting in a good spot, right? So that's the deal. Mr. Levin, how are you, sir? Yes, my internet is solid. Solid.
I was trying to find a picture of something to make a point here.
Oh, things are good. Like picture me sitting on the couch by the pool. When things are good in life.
Yeah, I don't have one of those from 2 years. Just 2 years ago is the latest one I have of that. But all right. So listen, everybody, I want to go over something, and this is something for all of you to think about. It's very important. Again, whether you want to open a school, whether you have a lease coming up in 1 year, 6 months, 3 years, or 4 years, right? Or you're looking at opening a second location. Mr. Flame, looking forward to talking with you on Monday. But here, I want to show you everybody this. Let me grab this. All right. So when we talk about locations and opening a school, how many times, Tess, have you had people talk to you and say, well, look, I'm making this up. There's a 2,500 square foot space in this grocery center, but it's going to cost me $6,000 a month. But a block away down the road, literally a half a mile down the road, I can get the same square footage and pay $4,000 a month. It's $2,000 less a month for me to go a half a mile down the road. Well, the reason why people do that, and if you're a school owner, okay, let me just tell you this. I would recommend that you open in a grocery anchored center, okay? A grocery anchored center, because you have a built-in audience of that community that's going to be in that center multiple times a month, right? Most people go to the grocery store multiple times a month, and you're going to capitalize on that traffic.
You know you're going to get the haters. Let me interrupt. You know you're going to get the haters that do the iCart and the home delivery for groceries now. And so they're going to,
which I do,
right? And they're going to start to say, well, that's just not true anymore. I mean, you have to be open-minded to this stuff, team, and not come up with the 3% of people that are getting groceries shipped to their home. I just want to throw that out there.
I'm going to go over stuff with them today. I'm going to give them great advice here today. So listen, this is important. Yeah, you do. But by the way, there's still a lot of people, and even we get our groceries delivered. But you know what? You forget something, you want to pick something up. I'm still at I was just there this morning. Put it that way. I was just there this morning. So when you look at it, what we do is we look at the expense. We look at it as it's $2,000 more to be in that center, and I'm only a half a mile away. I'm still in this community, and I can save $2,000 a month. Well, the first thing that we do is we look at what is your average student value, meaning what are you grossing, and how many students do you have, and what is your average customer worth to you, right? So let's pretend that your average customer is worth. And by the way, please don't confuse what you charge to what a customer is worth. Okay. If you go to a restaurant, let's say you have a favorite restaurant and you go there, it's all you can eat buffet or something for $25, but it doesn't include alcohol. And you pay $25 and you go to that restaurant every single month, but you always have a few beers, you're not worth $25 to them. You're worth $35 to them, right? Your average worth. So let's pretend your average customer is worth $150, right? So the next question is, well, how many extra students would I need to be in that grocery anchored center? Well, if your average value is $150, you need 13 more students. At the end of the day, can I have 13 more students being in this grocery anchored center with a high traffic volume than I would a half a mile down the street? And if the answer is yes, I would have 13, and I'd even have more because it's ongoing. Well, that pays for itself then. Don't look at the expense. Just say, man, that's just the difference of 13 students. So I want to be here where I'm going to have this constant flow of traffic and people that I can capitalize on. That's number one. Okay. Number two, the picture that I was looking for, and I don't know why it disappeared from my phone, is I was in St. Augustine, right? Just a few weeks ago. And I took a picture in front of me, and it was crowded. It was a street, right? Took a picture in front of me. I was at a four-way, and I took a picture in front, crowd. I turned around, took a picture behind me, crowd. Turned to my left, took a picture, 6 people down this side street. And they're all businesses, right? This is in the historic district. They're all businesses. But if a person said to me, hey, I can open in a great location, it's right in historic, St. Augustine in this example, and I'm just right, 200 feet, by the way, not a half a mile, 200 feet on the side road from like all these shops, you may go out of business because there were thousands of people in front of me, 1,000 people behind me, 6 people when I turn to my left at the businesses over there. The businesses over there, when I look to my left, even 10 feet in front of me, nobody was going down there. They were all going this way. Nobody was going over to check these businesses out.
Right.
And I bet you the turnover rate on those businesses is so much higher than the ones that are on these main streets. So you got to look at that. Next, and Tass, I don't know if I showed you this. Have you seen any of this?
No.
All right. Well, so now what we do is we are looking at opening up new locations, right? Well, we look for the full demographic. We right, cater more to kids. So I want to know about kids, right? So let me just fold this down for all our Florida people in case they see where we're looking. You know what I'm saying, Tass? Can't let the competition know where we're looking.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Real quick, here's a question. Let's just jump in here. How many square feet would you recommend starting within a grocery shopping center if you're launching a brand new academy with 0 students? Great question. First of all, I wouldn't recommend, depending on your financial situation, I wouldn't recommend just jumping into a 5-year lease where you're personally guaranteeing it without some sort of base, unless you've really saved up and you have about 6 months of carrying costs to be safe. And there's a way to get a base. But I'll just answer very quickly. Our sweet spot's 2,400 square feet. We have schools that are 2,000 square feet that have over 330 students. And anyone's welcome to come to Orlando and visit our schools. We also have schools that are over 6,000 square feet, but our sweet spot is 2,400 square feet. That's it. But Tass, you want to add to that on how do you start with a base of students?
Yeah, well, and you know, looking at this particular question, the other part of that is do you already have an existing location? And if you had an existing location, there is some strategy in opening up close enough to that location. And I would, pin all of your people and find out where your existing people coming from. And if you find that, hey, on the west side, we've got a lot of people coming from the west side, you may want to go just to the west and maybe pick up some of those existing students and put those existing students in your second location, if that's the case, so that you start out of the gates with social proof and you've got traffic and a full schedule and things like that. So, but this question I'm reading as, hey, I'm starting my first school and I literally have 0 students. What do I do? And you either need to have the carrying costs to get you through, or you need to build it in a rec center or type of environment. If to get your base of students to come over to that location. So I would agree.
Yeah. So that whatever he just said is great. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
Just kidding.
Yeah. First school. And Mr. Levitt, by the way, there's an entire like grand opening system that we follow as well to fill that school from day one, and also not only to fill it, but also to help provide cash flow to carry us for several months as well.
Right. And Mr. Blackman, 3 years ago, moved 6 miles away from the busiest intersection in Albuquerque to a side street. Have more students now than ever. Destination and internet advertising are doing all the marketing we can. Yeah, well, Mr. Blackman, you got to tell the rest of the story. You're also a CMA affiliate school, so you have the best team in the world, and you bought a massive 12,000 square foot beautiful building that everyone in the community knows. That's not the norm. So you got to tell the whole story there. The people that are just leasing out a small space is not what you have. So there's more to that story. My point is if you're leasing in a center, you want to be in a grocery anchored center, not a side street, not a warehouse, not anything. That's where you want to be. Now, if you're like an MMA gym or a CrossFit gym and you need 12,000 square feet, let's say, well, it's too expensive in a grocery anchored center, probably, right? They usually do warehouses, but they're a niche, a little bit more of a niche market, even MMA, if you're a professional MMA, right? There you go. Came in late to the discussion. Thanks to all possible. Yeah. Yeah. And Master Blackman, by the way, is in the top, I don't know, 1% of the most successful martial arts schools in the nation as well. Doing fantastic. But here's the next thing you want to look at, everybody. Don't just go look at a space and be like, oh, that's nice. As I told you earlier, we cater more to kids. We have probably 80 overall with all our locations, 85% are probably children, 15% are adults. We do have some schools that are a lot higher in adults, right? But overall, the majority of our schools is probably an 85-15, 80-20 somewhat. But so the first thing I look at is how many kids are in the area. Now, Google, you could just go to Google, look for demographics, or call a real estate broker to get demographics, especially if you're going to lease. But here's the stuff that we get. If you can see this. Let's see. You see ages 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19. Well, within a 1 mile radius, there's 410 kids between 5 and 9, 462 between 10 and 14. This is a 3 mile radius, like 2,300 kids between 5 and 9 and 2,500 kids between 10 and 14. But look at the income level. Almost 63% of household income is over $75,000 within a mile radius of this location, right? And then there's projections here too, as far as the 2021 estimate and then the projection, how much growth there's going to be. And I have everything I need on this. I have, you know, how many families are married? What's the average age? Like if you look down here, average age, median age within a mile, right? What order? So you have something like this, but to put in perspective, 5 to 9 year olds, there's 410. Well, in this location, there's 722, right? But 45% over 75K as opposed to 63%. So my point is,
here's a question. Here's a question for you. So based off of all your locations,
yeah,
and whatever you would consider success, right? Whether that's number of students and gross revenue is probably the or student value. You know, have you taken, and I'm sure you know, but have you taken a recent survey of an existing location that you have to match up and say, okay, here's a very successful school of ours, and this is what the blueprint should look like because we know we can make this happen with this school, and if we can do it over here, so how do those numbers compare?
Yeah, it's so great you asked that because I had an hour meeting today and I compared the numbers. So I do have one of our schools, I have all the demos on it, and I called. So how did we get the table and the info? We got it from, hey, look who's here.
Hi guys, I just want to change this real quick.
I feel like I did something wrong.
Well, no,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be misrepresented here.
Oh, he doesn't want it. I was going by Mr. Perry just in case I said something dumb.
Well,
There you go.
what do you mean? Just in case?
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Okay, now he's going to say all the smart stuff. All the dumb stuff is done. Now he's going to get to the smart
Right.
stuff.
So we got this table from our broker, someone who does a lot of the real estate stuff for us. But again, if you want to call someone in your area, a leasing agent, right, and just say, hey, I'm looking at, you know, I want to be between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet. I want to be in a grocery anchored center. Can you get me some centers, some grocery anchored centers in our area that have space available in that range? And can you get me all the demographics on it? And then Tass, I just asked him this morning, I said, Nick, can you get me all the demos on all my locations? As a matter of fact, just to show you how recent it was, this was at 11:46 a.m.
Eastern.
Yeah, look. No, that was at 12:11 p.m. and I sent them our addresses. I mean, literally, like within the hour. And I said, get me all the demos on our existing. Because I said to Peterman, I said, every big business, right? Starbucks, your grocery stores, they have a criteria that must be met before they open up a unit.
Right.
Why doesn't the industry? Our industry should have a criteria, and good news for you all, Shane and I are what you call givers. So when I get that information and I narrow it down, I will share to you what our criteria is. But to be honest with you, before it was really about how many elementary schools are in the area and we want to be in a grocery anchored plaza. I mean, that's kind of what we did.
Matt, as you're saying this, I'm going back to my first school that I opened when I was 20 years old. My first school, I literally opened up where my martial arts school moved out of and moved down the road. I moved into that location because it's what I knew and it's what I could afford. And that is not the right way to open a business. And by the way, I struggled for the first 23 years or 24 years of business, right? So I think this is super important that we understand that is what's the mentality. And like you said, we can look at a place and go, that's a nice place. It's wide open. There's no beams. This is perfect. As opposed to if you were a big box company or a big company, forget a big box company, but a big company like Metz is talking about, you're going to look at not based off of a gut feeling where you think you should go. You're going to let the numbers, just like we have the numbers run our business. We need to look at the numbers and the demographics of that particular location, that area, and make sure that it's the right spot for us so that we can set ourselves up to be the most successful as opposed to having to work way harder to get to that same level of success. You bring this up down the road from me. We have there's a strip center, a shopping center, and there's been a bar in that place. I've been there for, 11 years. I was in this place. I've lived in this area for 11 years. And there's been 3 or 4 bars that have come and gone from bar and restaurant type grill places that have come and gone in that location. Literally, I could throw a baseball from the parking lot of this new bar to the old bar that's in the shopping center. Same thing that you said, Metzger.
Yeah.
And it is, I'm like, well, these guys couldn't make it in the shopping center for the last 11 years. They've had 3 or 4 businesses. And this bar is going to come to town and go literally a stone's throw away, and they think they're going to make it. Their parking lot is packed every day. Every day. And that for me was a big eye-opening experience, man. Like, I cannot believe literally a half a block away. This is a case of, like you said, several hundred feet, that a business can be that much more successful than where this existing location is. That's the difference. It's a game changer.
And while you're talking about that, on that note, check this out. I've never done this, but here's the difference between 3 of our, now, just like you, we have some schools we've had for over 20 years. So I have some schools that are not in the best demographics, right? And I have some schools that are now in really good demographics. I want to tell you the average, the difference just for the first 6 months of this year, January through June.
We'll just wait patiently, Mets. Whatever. Take your time. We'll just hang out and
grab a drink. Here it is.
About you.
You ready for this, man?
I'm
in waiting. The first 6 here, but listen up, everybody. When you worry about rent, paying extra, the difference in the average gross revenue between 3 schools that are not in the best area, which are doing phenomenal, they're doing great, compared to the 3 schools that are in great areas that we have. Now, remember, same ownership, same management, same trainings. In the first 6 months, the average gross at the schools that are paying more rent in higher end areas did $194,000 more in the first 6 months than the average of the 3 schools that are in subpar markets.
That's crazy.
$194,000 in 6 months.
Times 2. Here it comes, people.
Well, no, what I'm doing is I'm dividing that by 6.
Right.
That means on average, they're doing $32,000 more a month than the schools in the submarkets. Now,
So,
Would you
so
pay?
your comparison earlier about I want to save $2,000 a month because I can be right there, but I'm going to save $2,000 a month. Well, you're not saving $2,000 a month. You're giving up 30.
You're making 30.
You're making 30, right?
A month. So when you look at it and you say, oh, I can't afford that, that's $3,000 more to be here. Yeah, well, our average school, and I'll just be honest with you, I mean, it's right here. Here's our numbers. Our schools in our good markets, this is like January all the way through, they're doing like an average of 70,000. And the schools that are not in the best markets are doing an average of around 40. And combined all together, you know, together all of this, and we have more than we have 7 locations we own right here in Orlando, but together we're averaging like, I don't know, 51 or whatever the average is. But my point is there's a common denominator with the schools that are in these higher end markets that are paying more rent, and it's just higher revenue, right?
Right. That's incredible.
Oh, look, so why do you keep those schools there? Well, that's a great question because, well, one of those schools, but by the way, they're not horrible markets and they're still doing, you know, 40,000 a month, right? So it's not like they're struggling, number one. Number two, you never want to move a school, especially when you're doing pretty well. You don't want to move a school across town and there's no, you're in this market. We've been there for 20 years. So the market's the market. So I'd have to stay somewhere in that market. You know what I mean? I don't want to leave all those people, right? So
yes, you made the analogy of or the example of a $6,000 square foot facility and a $4,000 square foot facility. I'm just curious, like the places that you're looking right now, you know, is that about what you're going to be paying in those places if you want to get in those areas?
I'm looking for backup so everybody knows how transparent we are. No, the spaces we are looking at, the one space is 2,200 square feet and they want 11,000 a month. That's with tax. That's everything. That's
that's why it's so high.
Yeah.
It's with tax.
That's it. That's right. It's 5,000. The rest is taxes and gas.
But that's crazy. $11,000, right? That's crazy.
So I look at it. So our average rent is probably right now around, you know, all in is probably around 7,000 a month. So will I spend 8, 9, 10, 11, 4,000 more a month to be in these high end markets?
Well, based on those numbers that you're looking at right now, to make 30, that's 26 plus. So yeah, probably a good decision, right?
Right.
Yeah. And by the way, those numbers sound high to a lot of people, but the reason you're able to get into those types of markets as well is because the business systems and everything is a well-oiled machine, and we know what we can produce as far as revenue when we get a school open. I mean, you got to have the right systems in place as well, which we've talked about 100 times on this show.
And Mr. Blackman, what percentage of your growth should be rent? You want to quote some of the stuff you've heard over the times, Tass? Because it's such a moving target because of the areas that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it should be no more than 25% of your gross, right?
Yeah, should never be that high ever.
So this is not Tassoul telling you this. This is what I've heard, right, from people. So that's what I've heard, you know, and that's probably the biggest one that I've heard. And Metz will give you the real answer, which I don't know that there's.
Well, the real answer is it varies, but I'd like it to get under 15%. I mean, and the thing is you know, depending on where you are at. Look, I told you, you've heard this story a million times. I worked with a gentleman in Illinois in a small town. He had over 2,000 square feet. He was paying $325 a month in rent. So if he came to me and said, what percentage of my gross should be rent? I would say at least 1%. You know, I mean, it just varies, but
right, exactly.
Well, I think Shelby may be on. Somebody is just quoting me like crazy today. Taz, I don't see any of your quotes. Maybe it's because I'm not letting you talk.
Look, I would not want a dumbass quote like "it varies, but shoot for under 15% as a quote out there, because I have no idea what that's in reference to. So, yeah, what should your net profit be? It varies, but it should be under 15%. That's quoted by Mike Metzger.
Why did I miss this? I'm looking in a Publix Plaza. There are no schools nearby. Is this a good idea, or are schools better? Well, if you say no karate schools or martial arts schools, it's a great idea. If there's no elementary or middle schools, you got to look at the demos, especially if you cater to kids, because
I would be
kids, right?
I mean, I may be dead wrong on this, but
there's your quote. Yeah, you have the better quotes.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right. But I would be hard unless it's in an older community, right? Like where the average median age is older, right? But typically, if a grocery store is there, if it's a Publix, there's got to be schools. So I would just take a look. And when you say not close, I don't know what that means either. Not close as in like a half a mile, or not close as in 3 miles, right?
Yeah, and look, here's a great location, right? Beautiful center, high income, but it's not going to fly. You ready for this? Look at that 5 to 9-year-olds and 10 to 14-year-olds within a mile radius of this place.
Okay. Well, that might be a reason there's not an elementary school close by.
Right? Because look at that. I can't work with 64 kids within a mile. And within 3 miles, there's 945 within 3 miles. Great area, beautiful location. But even the projections, like, it's not like going to explode all of a sudden with kids. So here's the tip of the day, guys. You're in a martial arts. Most of you have a school. Some of you have saved some money. You believe you're just saving money on rent because you're off the beaten path a little bit. But when your lease comes up, not when it comes up, but you should keep your eye open and look. And again, how many students would you need to cover that difference in rent? You know, here, Tass, do you see that question?
I will in a second. For a new location, would it be better to get into a less than ideal demo location with immediate availability? Hold on, on a shorter term, I just can't see the building, at least, or wait until I'm being told, or wait, what I'm being told may be 9 to 18 month wait for an ideal demo location.
Demographic location?
Maybe a demographic location. Yeah, man. Listen, if you're in a place right now, I mean, based off this conversation, if you're in a place right now, look, 9 to 18 months is nothing, right? So I would sit and I would definitely, if that's the only option for you and you need to wait, then yeah, you sit and you wait it out. You make do with the best of what you got right now and do it. And then when that place comes available, you know, if you're going to get in 9 to 18 months, yeah, 18 months goes by like that. And I would not go into a less than ideal place and commit to a 3 or 5 year on a place like that when in 18 months you can be in a location that you want to be in is a much better location.
Right. Yeah. If you're going to settle, don't get tied into a long term. Don't invest a lot of money in build out or anything else like that. If you're thinking it's just going to be temporary. But if I had to wait 9 to 18 months, I'd rather just lease out space somewhere like out of like what we did, what you did, or Silverman did. Silverman started teaching classes at the Y. I taught out of elementary school cafeterias and built up a base. When I moved into a Publix Plaza, I opened the school with like 80 plus students the day I opened because I was teaching in elementary school cafeterias, and then I just moved all those kids. So the whole point.
By the way, guys, sometimes this is hard, right? Because we don't know all the information, right? And so if you're in an existing location and you have an existing school going, then just wait out the time. If you're talking for a and I see you say a new location, Mr. Maddock. I've seen you on several of these. I mean, I assume you have your own location now. But yeah, a new if it's and again, I don't know if it's a new location or if that's a second new location. There's a lot of variables and I don't want to be vague, guys, when we have these conversations, but everyone's situation is a little bit different. So I just want to be clear about that.
And that's a good point, because we need all the, and that's the point of this whole exercise. You need to get all the information. You can't just look at the cost and be like, great. You can't just look at a grocery anchored center and be like, that's what he said, I'm going in here. Just like I showed you that other one. I wouldn't move there, right? And then I also wouldn't move here. Look. So look at this one. Look at the household income here.
Yes, sir.
Only 37% of households over 75K, as opposed to 60% in the other place, right? So, because we're an extracurricular activity, no matter how you look at it, right?
This is, and by the way, this is a great start. The benefit that you have, Metz, is one of the benefits is you've got all your other locations. So it'll be really interesting to see where your other locations come in on all those demos to be able to compare and find out what blueprint's working. And we may be surprised at some of the numbers, and my guess is probably not surprised, but it'll be definitely interesting to see and compare. And boy, that sure gives you a lot of intel to be able to open up a location in the right area and make sure that you're maximizing success out of the gates and setting yourself up for success.
And Mr. Stewart, you're from what I've heard, I think, right? You're in the CMA family now. You're going to be taken care of. You're going to know exactly what you're going to need to do. And Tass, you said it earlier in the broadcast. You came to me and wanted to open a second location. And how long did I put that off? How long did I tell you you're not to do it?
It was like 2 years.
That you waited before we said, okay,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, and so we will look into that, because that's the next thing, right? Don't just say, all right, I want to open a second location in a good area now. Like, there's so many things we got to make sure that you're ready and that you have. One of those things, like Mr. Blackman commented, is bench strength. That's one of those things, but that's one of a few, right? So we definitely will dive in and look at that. So I think today is just an education, because it comes up so much. One thing we all have in common, whether you're successful, not successful, or whatever, is you all have a location you teach out of, whether that's your garage or whether that's in the highest end grocery anchored center. So everybody has a location, right? Well, these are some tips on what to look for in a location. And I thought it might be universal as far as hearing some of our thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think it's great, and if you guys have questions, that's why we're here, ask us the questions and we can dive more into your particular situation and where you're at. But the last thing that I would do is take advice from a couple guys on a show and go open up a second location based off of what we're telling you, because you're not getting all the information. And as much as we'd love to give you all the information, every single and don't let anyone else talk you into or out of a location or a second location unless they have all of the information. And it's interesting, when I talk to clients, there's times where we're having a conversation and we think we have all the information. Then by asking more questions, we find out that we don't have all the information, and that piece of information that was left out is a key piece of information to make a decision. So whoever you work with, make sure that they have all the information. And sometimes it's not that we don't want to give it. Sometimes the questions we're being asked don't elicit the right information that we really need. So that's why I think it's important to make sure, whoever you talk to, have that conversation and talk to them and be able to know that the right questions are being asked.
And by the way, MAIA Edge, if that's Miss Shelby or anyone from the team, what is the link for the Next Level Summit? Can you put that up there? Because look, if you want to talk about investing, come to Orlando, come to our school, come to our MAIA Next Level Summit, August 6th and 7th. It's a Friday, Saturday. If you're a MAIA Elite member, it is not for you. If you are a CMA affiliate, it is not for you. But anyone else, it is for you. And the thing is you may say, well, why, if I'm not a MAIA Elite? You're going to try to sell me to MAIA Elite? Yeah, I am. If you're qualified and if you're ready for that, I will. But it's because the MAIA Elite people they just had this 2 weeks ago in Dallas or 3 weeks ago in Dallas. And this is going to be a small group of people. We're only taking 20 schools, right? And we have a couple spots left because we're doing it in our World Training Center, and you're going to get to see a mass intro live. So you could see all this stuff we talk about. You can see it live happening on Saturday morning. And we're going to plan the rest of your year and go over things that's going to really help you. Yeah, Mr. Blackman said, Edge members, take the leap of faith and go to the next level. If you're a MAIA Edge member, come to Orlando and spend the plane ticket and one-night hotel.
Right.
And this is it if you want to check it out right here. But it's August 6th and 7th, and we have a couple spots left. It's going to be in our conference room. That's why we're only taking 20 schools. And we're doing it there because you'll be able to see the mass intro live on Saturday morning, but it's Friday, Saturday. So Tassoul will be there. I will be there. Chris Rodriguez will be there. Michael Perry will be there. Shelby, our social media specialist, also for CMA, will be there. You're going to get to see the whole team, and you're going to learn a lot. But I'd love to see you come to the event August 6th and 7th here in Orlando. And if you go to that link, that will give you all the information.
By the way, anyone that wants to, if you guys decide you want to come in early, you guys can go and look at the locations of the schools and see where those schools are located, see that they're in the public centers, and look at where they're located, how they're situated, how they're set up, look at the size of the schools, those types of things as well.
Oh, look, MAIA Edge members, message us for discount on Next Level Summit registration. Okay, well, there you go. I didn't know that, but there you go. Right? And Mr. Arce, he says it's a must. And he's been here. He's visited a few times. Mr. Olama, will be worth any money you have to spend. Thank you. And
yeah, the only downfall is you'll have to listen to Metzger for a little bit. But other than that, it'll be great.
Yeah, but unlike this show, they cut me off at a certain time and bring up the next guy, James House. But Chris Rodriguez, who's MAIA's social media specialist, owner of Grow Pro Agency to drive traffic in, she's going to be there. I'll be there, Tassoul, like I just said, the whole team. And you're going to get so much information. So the question is, well, if it cost me $1,000, let's just say one time, can I get, if your student value is only $100, over the rest of my life, will I get 10 extra students that I wouldn't have gotten from what they taught me? Well, I think
different than paying $2,000 less a month or $2,000 more a month in your facility, right? So if you, based off of what we just demonstrated with your location, which, like you said, would you take the time to invest in that and come down and know that knowledge is forever and you get to implement it over and over and over again? But
here's the thing, guys. If you're thinking about register right now, like click and register, or you'll just be like, oh man, I've been meaning to do it. It's already the 5th. I can't make it.
Right.
If you think you can come to Orlando, if you're in Florida or Georgia or Tennessee, drive in. I mean, just come see for yourself. And I'm more excited about showing you so you can help spread the word on Facebook that even if you didn't do anything with us, you can at least say, yeah, they practice what they preach. Everything they say, I saw it. I was there. I went to their schools. So, oh man, I'm sorry about that.
It's funny. I just saw that they opened up the border, Mr. Weaver, for vaccinated Americans to come into Canada, but they're not letting Canadians out of the country. Huh? That's crazy.
Well, there it is. Here you go, Master Bolton. I checked out the headquarters and a couple of schools when I was in town this spring, and it was a great experience. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, so we'd love for you to come for the summit. So check out the link. And if you guys need anything, remember, when we do this show, if you tune in, if you have specific questions that you want our advice on, and it's not that we're always right on everything, it's just that we happen to have a lot of experience. Most of your questions will probably be something we've dealt with in the past, and we'll just tell you how we dealt with it.
And Matt, if we still have people on, I mean, I think there's still people on, but I'm just curious. I'm going to ask the question. would anybody on here be interested in a Metzger Tassoul Show where we actually took someone who had a challenge in their school and we actually go through like a live coaching call where we do that on the Metzger Tassoul Show? Would anybody be interested in seeing that? Or even being the person to do that with? But we could take you through literally like a live, maybe one of our elite clients, a live elite coaching call. Just curious if anyone is interested in that. Because a lot of times we can say, well, that doesn't apply to me. That applies to that person. But to be a lot of people love to be a fly on the wall and listen and hear what other people's challenges are, and then be able to see how we can overcome those challenges, the advice that we give, and the implementation action steps that we give. So there you go, Metz.
Wow. All right. Look, Mr. Lee. Mike Lee beat up on my cousin yesterday. We were at the Jungle. If you come to Orlando, you got to go check out the Jungle, MMA and fitness. The Jungle with Mike Lee and Seth Petrozelli out there, the MMA gym. Some of the best. I have family in town, and I took them over there to get some training in.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, great place, man. Great place.
You should see it now. It looks,
Yeah.
They're done doing the
remodel.
It's beautiful.
Awesome. Maybe when I come down, I got a little bit of time when I come down. Maybe we'll stop over.
You know what? Will there be punch and pie?
Sure. I don't know if that means on the consulting call or at the actual event. At the event, there will not be pie. I'm on a diet.
We're just going to be honest.
But we will punch. No, I'm just teasing.
Hey, and also if you're in Orlando, this is a shout out, right? I don't get paid by these people, but Tass, when you're in town in a week or two, whenever this seminar is, got to take you to Chiba Hut Subs. And Mike Lee, you got to go check it out. The best subs in Florida.
Come on. Better than a pub sub.
Better. Way better. And by the way, I think they're a franchise. So I don't know if anyone else has a Chiba Hut in their area, but it opened like 3 months ago. And it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. All toasted. They have a garlic infused bread, a white bread, a wheat bread, and it's delicious, man.
See, guys, I work so hard on getting in shape when I'm home, and then I go down there, and he's talking about bread and cookies and ice cream and all this stuff.
You got to stay in shape. You got to eat that stuff.
Kicks up the metabolism for when I go back.
The only person that's ripped and eats worse than me is this guy right here.
Yes. Yeah.
Mike Lee can put down a large, like, white pizza at Park Pizza and
a deep fried Twinkie, I think it was at Universal.
Oh yeah, and like 3 butter beers at Universal.
Oh, that's great.
Which is not beer, and not that we're advocating the alcohol. It's in the Harry Potter exhibit. These very sweet cream soda type drinks, and I think he can down 3 of those things.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Hey, Mike, you got to text me after you go to Chiba Hut. I'm excited for you to try this place. It's unbelievable. So,
very cool.
All right, guys.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, let me get some messages, then I'm going to call you back.
Got it. That sounds great. All right, team. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon, everybody.
All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.